The Easter brunch at Mom's house had the usual suspects. My sister Lauren and her fiancé Marcus, my parents, Aunt Rachel, Uncle Tom, and my cousin Jessica. The dining room smelled like honey-glazed ham and Mom's famous rosemary potatoes. Everything looked perfect. Like always. I arrived last, straight from a red-eye flight from San Francisco. I was wearing jeans and a plain black hoodie. My hair was in a messy bun. I looked tired because I was tired. "Oh good, Maya finally showed up," Lauren announced as I walked in. She was wearing a cream-colored dress that probably cost more than most people's monthly rent. Her engagement ring, a 2.5-carat diamond Marcus had proposed with 3 months ago, caught the light as she gestured dramatically. "We were just talking about your little tech thing." I set down the wine I'd brought and took a seat at the far end of the table. "Hi everyone. Happy Easter. Your sister was just telling us about her promotion," Mom said, her tone bright with pride. "Senior Marketing Director at Morrison & Klein. Isn't that wonderful?" "Congratulations," I said genuinely. "And Marcus just closed a $4.7 million deal with a healthcare network," Dad added, beaming at my future brother-in-law. "Regional sales record." Marcus grinned. He was handsome in that conventional way. Tall, athletic build, expensive haircut. The kind of guy who wore a sports coat to Easter brunch. "Just doing my part. The medical device industry is booming right now." "Speaking of careers," Lauren said, turning to me with a smile that didn't reach her eyes, "are you still doing that computer thing?" "What is it exactly?" I'd been expecting this. It happened every family gathering. "Cybersecurity. I run a company." Lauren laughed. It wasn't a mean laugh exactly. It was worse. It was dismissive. Amused. Like I'd just told her I was a professional unicorn trainer. "Right. Your company." She made air quotes. "Mom, didn't Maya say the same thing 3 years ago? 5 years ago?" "I think it's nice that Maya has hobbies," Aunt Rachel said kindly. "Not everyone needs a corporate career." "It's not a hobby," I said quietly. "It's a business." "Come on, Maya." Lauren leaned back in her chair, wine glass in hand. "Stop playing CEO. It's embarrassing. You're 34 years old, you work from coffee shops in your apartment, you don't have an office, you barely talk about what you do. That's not a real company. That's a side hustle at best." The table went quiet. Not uncomfortable quiet. Agreeing quiet. "Your sister has a point," Dad said carefully. "We worry about you. No benefits, no retirement plan, no stability. At some point you need to think about your future." "I have thought about it." "Have you?" Mom's voice was gentle but concerned. "Honey, we love you. But this tech thing you've been doing for years. Where's it going? Lauren has a 401k, health insurance, a mortgage. What do you have?" I could have told them. Right then. I could have pulled out my phone and shown them the Forbes article from 6 months ago. The TechCrunch feature from last year. The business valuation documents sitting in my lawyer's office. But I didn't. "I'm doing fine," I said instead. "Fine isn't great," Uncle Tom interjected. "You know, my buddy's company is hiring. Entry-level IT support. I could get you an interview. Benefits start day 1. "That's thoughtful, but I'm good." Lauren set down her wine glass with a soft clink. "Maya, listen. I'm saying this because I love you. You need to stop pretending you're running some big tech company. It's delusional. Marcus works in the real business world. He meets actual CEOs. People with offices, employees, investors. What you're doing. It's embarrassing. For you and honestly for us." Marcus shifted uncomfortably but said nothing. "I think we should change the subject," I said. "No, let's not." Lauren was on a roll now, fueled by wine and the captive audience. "Every year it's the same thing. I'm working on my business. I'm building something." "Building what, Maya?" "You live in a 1-bedroom apartment in Austin. You drive a 10-year-old Honda Civic. You dress like a college student. Where's this big success you keep talking about?" "I never said I was successful." "Exactly. Because you're not. And that's fine. Most startups fail. But you have to know when to quit. Get a real job. Join the adult world. Stop playing entrepreneur." Everyone nodded. Even Jessica, who usually stayed out of family drama, was looking at me with pity. "Marcus, back me up here," Lauren said, squeezing his hand. "You work with tech vendors all the time. Tell Maya what real companies look like." Marcus cleared his throat. "I mean, yeah. Real companies have infrastructure, headquarters, legal teams, HR departments. If Maya's been doing this for 5 years and we've never seen any evidence of growth. He trailed off with a shrug. See. Lauren looked triumphant. Even Marcus agrees. It's time to grow up, little sister. I stood up slowly. Every eye turned to me. I need to use the restroom, I said. I walked down the hallway to the bathroom, locked the door and stared at myself in the mirror. My reflection looked exactly like what they thought I was. Tired, ordinary, unsuccessful. My phone buzzed. A text from my CEO Jennifer. Jennifer, board meeting still on for Thursday? Salesforce wants to move up the Q2 presentation. Me, confirmed. I'll be back Tuesday night. Jennifer, how's the family thing? Me, same as always. Jennifer, you could just tell them. Me, where's the fun in that? I splashed water on my face, took a breath and went back to the dining room. The rest of brunch was fine. They moved on to other topics. Marcus and Lauren's wedding plans, Dad's golf game, Mom's book club. I ate my ham, smiled when appropriate and left as soon as was polite. As I walked to my car, Lauren caught up with me in the driveway. Hey, she said, her voice softer now. I wasn't trying to be mean in there. I know. I just worry about you. We all do. You're smart, Maya. You could do so much more than whatever it is you're doing now. I unlocked my car. I appreciate the concern. Marcus has connections. If you want, I can ask him to introduce you to some people. Get you interviews. Real ones at real companies. That's kind of you, but I'm okay. She sighed. You're stubborn. You always have been. Just think about it, okay? Stop playing CEO and start actually building a life. I got in my car and drove away. The thing is, they weren't entirely wrong to be concerned. 7 years ago, I had been exactly what they thought I was. A struggling entrepreneur with more ambition than sense, burning through my savings, working 90-hour weeks in coffee shops in my apartment. I'd started Sentinel Systems in 2018 with $47,000. My entire savings, cashed out 401k and a loan from a friend who believed in me when no one else did. The company's mission was simple. Provide enterprise-level cybersecurity solutions for mid-market companies that couldn't afford the big players like CrowdStrike or Palo Alto Networks. The first 2 years were brutal. I lived on ramen and coffee. I taught myself to code at 3 a.m. I made cold calls until my voice went hoarse. I pitched to 147 investors and got rejected by all of them. Then in 2020, everything changed. A mid-sized healthcare company in Dallas got hit by a ransomware attack. Their existing security system, expensive, top-tier, recommended by every consultant, had failed completely. They were desperate. They hired me as a last resort, probably because I was cheap. I rebuilt their entire security infrastructure in 6 weeks. Not only did I recover their encrypted data, I identified the vulnerability that had let the attackers in. A flaw in their vendor's software that was affecting thousands of other companies. I reported it. The vendor fixed it. And suddenly, I wasn't just another failed startup founder. I was the woman who'd found a critical security flaw that could have compromised half the healthcare industry. The clients came flooding in. By 2021, Sentinel Systems had 43 employees and $12 million in revenue. By 2022, we'd grown to 180 employees and $47 million in revenue. By 2023, we hit 340 employees and $94 million in revenue. This year, 2025, we were on track for $180 million in revenue with 520 employees across offices in Austin, San Francisco, and Denver. Forbes had called me the quiet giant of cybersecurity. TechCrunch wrote, while everyone was watching the flashy AI startups, Maya Chin built a $180 million empire in silence. But I never told my family. Not because I was hiding it exactly. I just wanted to see how long it would take them to notice. Or care enough to ask questions instead of making assumptions. Lauren thought I worked from coffee shops. I did sometimes, as I could. Because the beauty of building a distributed company was that I could run board meetings from anywhere. But our Austin headquarters occupied 4 floors of a building downtown. We had a full-time security staff, a world-class engineering team, and clients that included 3 Fortune 500 companies. I drove a 10-year-old Honda Civic because I loved that car. It was reliable. Why would I replace something that worked perfectly? I dressed in hoodies and jeans because suits felt like costumes. My investors didn't care what I wore. My clients didn't care what I wore. The only people who cared were people like Lauren, for whom appearance meant more than substance. And yes, I lived in a one-bedroom apartment. A very nice one-bedroom apartment that I owned outright mortgage-free, in a building with a view of Lady Bird Lake. But they'd never asked to see it, so they'd never know. The truth was, I could have told them years ago. But their assumptions had become a kind of test. If they really cared about me, about what I was doing, about my life, they'd ask real questions. They'd Google my name. They'd show actual interest. They never did. 3 days after Easter, on a Wednesday morning, I was in our boardroom for final interviews. We were hiring for 3 senior positions: VP of Engineering, Head of Sales, and Director of Strategic Partnerships. The boardroom was on the 4th floor of our headquarters. Floor-to-ceiling windows overlooked downtown Austin. The walls were decorated with our company values, patents we'd earned, and a framed Forbes 30 Under 30 award from 2021 with my face on it. Jennifer, my CEO, sat to my right. Marcus Williams, our head of HR, no relation to my future brother-in-law, sat to my left. We'd already interviewed 2 candidates that morning. Next up is Marcus Porter, Jennifer said, glancing at her tablet. Applying for Director of Strategic Partnerships. Background in medical device sales. Impressive numbers. Regional sales record holder for MedTech Solutions. I looked at the resume in front of me. Marcus Porter. The name was familiar, but I'd been looking at dozens of resumes for weeks. Then I saw the address. Dallas, Texas. My stomach dropped. Wait, I said slowly. MedTech Solutions? That's Lauren's fiancé's company. Jennifer's eyes widened. Your sister Lauren? Yes. Oh my God. Marcus, our Marcus, HR Marcus, started laughing. This is the guy. The one who told you to get a real job. He didn't say that exactly. But yes. Jennifer was grinning now. What do you want to do? I thought about it for exactly 3 seconds. Let's interview him. Fairly. If he's qualified, he's qualified. If he's not, he's not. You sure? Jennifer asked. This could get awkward. It's already awkward. Might as well see how qualified my future brother-in-law is. Marcus HR pressed the intercom. Send in Mr. Porter, please. The door opened. Marcus Porter walked in wearing a sharp navy suit, carrying a leather portfolio, his expression confident. He was clearly expecting to impress some HR people, maybe a department head. He walked toward the table, hand extended, opening his mouth to introduce himself. Then he saw me, sitting at the head of the boardroom table, in the CEO's chair. His face went white. Mr. Porter, I said calmly. Thank you for coming in. Please have a seat. He stood frozen for a long moment. His hand was still extended, but now it was trembling slightly. Why, His voice cracked. What are you? Why are you? I'm the CEO of Sentinel Systems, I said. The company you're interviewing with. Didn't you research us before applying? His mouth opened. Closed. Opened again. No words came out. Jennifer gestured to the empty chair across from us. Mr. Porter, please sit down. We have several questions for you. Marcus finally moved, walking stiffly to the chair and sitting down like a man in a dream. Or a nightmare. His portfolio sat unopened in front of him. Let's start with the basics, I said, keeping my voice professional. You've been with MedTech Solutions for 7 years. Impressive sales record. What made you interested in Sentinel Systems? He swallowed hard. I saw the job posting. The salary range was excellent. The company has a strong reputation in cybersecurity. I thought my enterprise sales background would translate well to tech sales. Did you Google me before this interview? He blinked. What? Did you Google my name? Maya Chen, CEO of Sentinel Systems. No. I looked at the company website. I saw there was a CEO, but I didn't. He trailed off, staring at the Forbes 30 Under 30 award on the wall behind Maine. That's me, I confirmed. 2021. Same year we hit our first $10 million in revenue. His face had gone from white to red. Maya, I'm so sorry. At Easter I didn't know. Let's keep this professional, I interrupted. Tell me about your biggest sales achievement. He tried to refocus, but his hands were shaking. Last quarter I closed a $4.7 million deal with a regional healthcare network. Multi-year contract. It broke our regional record. Impressive, Jennifer said, making notes. What was your commission on that? 7%. About $329,000. And what's your total compensation at MedTech Solutions? I asked. Base salary of $145,000, plus commission. Last year I made about $640,000 total. Marcus HR leaned forward. Why leave? Those are excellent numbers. Marcus Porter shifted in his seat. I want to grow. MedTech is established, but the growth opportunities are limited. I want to be part of something dynamic. Something that's scaling fast. A company like this. A company like this, I repeated. Can you tell me what you know about Sentinel Systems? You provide cybersecurity solutions for mid-market enterprises. You've grown rapidly over the past few years. You have offices in Austin, San Francisco, and Denver. You're privately held. Around 500 employees. 520 employees, I corrected. Revenue? I'm not sure. The website doesn't list revenue. $180 million this year, Jennifer said. On track for $240 million next year. Marcus Porter's face went pale again. Let me ask you something, I said, leaning back in my chair. 3 days ago at Easter brunch, you agreed with my sister when she said I was playing entrepreneur. You said real companies have infrastructure, headquarters, legal teams, HR departments. You implied that what I was doing wasn't a real business. Do you remember that? He looked like he wanted to disappear into the floor. Maya, I am so incredibly sorry. I didn't mean. Do you remember it? Yes. I remember. What changed between Sunday and Wednesday? Nothing changed. I just didn't know. Exactly. I stood up, walking to the window. You didn't know. You never asked. At Easter you saw me in a hoodie and jeans and you made an assumption. You decided I was a failure without knowing anything about what I actually do. You're right. I'm sorry. I turned back to face him. You know what's interesting? You applied for a director position at my company. Did you think you were qualified? Yes. My sales record speaks for itself. It does. You're good at selling medical devices. But this position requires selling something different. Enterprise cybersecurity solutions. Have you ever sold software? No, but I'm confident I could learn. Have you ever worked in tech? No. Do you understand the cybersecurity landscape? The difference between endpoint protection and network security? Between CM and SOAR? His silence was the answer. Jennifer looked at her notes. Mr. Porter, you have an impressive background in medical device sales. But this role requires specific industry experience you don't currently have. We're looking for someone who can speak fluently to CISOs and IT directors about complex technical solutions. I can learn, he said desperately. I'm a fast learner. I've always adapted to new environments. Maybe, I said. But we need someone who can start producing results in 90 days. This is a senior leadership role. We can't afford a 6-month learning curve. The room was silent except for the sound of Austin traffic 4 floors below. That being said, I continued, we do have an opening for an associate strategic partnerships manager. It's a mid-level role. $95,000 base salary, plus commission. It would give you the opportunity to learn the cybersecurity industry while contributing to our sales pipeline. You'd report to the Director of Strategic Partnerships, whoever we hire for that position. Marcus Porter stared at me. You're offering me a job? A different job than you applied for. At about a third of your current total compensation. Take it or leave it. He looked completely lost. Can I think about it? You have until 5 p.m. Friday to decide. If you accept, you'll start on the first Monday of next month. Jennifer will send you the offer letter this afternoon. I sat back down. One more thing. If you take this position, you'll be an employee of Sentinel Systems. Not my future brother-in-law. Not Lauren's fiancé. An employee. That means you follow the same rules as everyone else. You perform or you're gone. Understood. Understood. And Marcus? When you tell Lauren about this interview, and I know you will, you can also tell her that her little sister's embarrassing tech thing generates more revenue in 1 quarter than she'll make in her entire career. That her Pretend company. Has 520 employees who depend on me for their livelihoods. That the CEO she told to stop playing pretend was named one of Forbes' most promising entrepreneurs under 30. His face was bright red now. Or, I said more gently, you can just tell her you interviewed at a cybersecurity company and they offered you a different position. Your choice. Maya, I really am sorry. At Easter I was just agreeing with Lauren. I didn't mean to. You meant it, I interrupted. You believed it. And that's fine. You're not the first person to underestimate me. But now you know better. The question is, are you humble enough to take a junior role at a company you didn't think was real? He stood up slowly, still holding his unopened portfolio. I'll have an answer by Friday. Perfect. Jennifer will show you out. After he left, Marcus H.R. burst out laughing. Oh my God. That was the most professional takedown I've ever witnessed. I wasn't taking him down, I said. I was being honest. He's not qualified for the senior role. But he does have transferable skills. You really think he'll take the offer? Jennifer asked. I have no idea. But it'll be interesting to see if his pride allows it. My phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. Unknown. Maya, it's Marcus. I just left your office. Can we talk? Please don't tell Lauren about this yet. I need to process what just happened. I showed the text to Jennifer. He grinned. He's panicking. Me, take the time you need. The offer stands until Friday. Marcus, did you know I'd applied? Is that why you took the interview? Me, I didn't know until this morning. But once I knew, I wanted to give you a fair chance. Despite what happened at Easter. Marcus, I don't know what to say. Me, say you'll think about the offer. That's all I'm asking. Marcus, I will. And Maya? I really am sorry. Thursday morning I was in back-to-back meetings. Financial review at 9 a.m., product roadmap discussion at 10:30, lunch with a potential investor at noon, board presentation prep at 2 p.m. My phone kept buzzing. I ignored it until my 2 p.m. meeting ended. 16 missed calls from Lauren. 23 text messages. I scrolled through them. Lauren, why is Marcus acting weird? Lauren, he came home yesterday completely pale. Won't tell me what happened. Lauren, did something happen at his interview? Lauren, Maya, answer your phone. Lauren, he said he interviewed at some cybersecurity company. Was it yours? Lauren, Lauren, I just Googled you. Lauren, I just Googled your company. Lauren, $180 million revenue? Lauren, Forbes 30 under 30? Lauren, why didn't you tell us? Lauren, Mom and Dad don't know. I called them. They had no idea. Lauren, call me back right now. I stared at the messages for a long moment. Then I called her. She answered on the first ring. Maya. Oh my God, why didn't you tell us? Hi, Lauren. Hi. That's all you have to say? I just spent the last hour reading articles about you. Forbes, TechCrunch, Business Insider. You're famous. I'm not famous. I'm just successful. Just successful? Just successful? Maya, your company is worth $180 million. That's revenue, not valuation. The valuation is closer to $850 million. She made a sound like a strangled gasp. 800. Maya, I told you to get a real job. At Easter. 3 days ago. I told you to stop playing Sue. I remember. And you didn't say anything. You just sat there and let us think you were, I don't know, doing freelance IT support or something. You never asked what I actually did. You just assumed. There was a long pause. Marcus interviewed at your company. He did. You interviewed him. You're his potential boss. I am. Oh my God. She sounded genuinely distressed now. Maya, he came home and locked himself in the study for 3 hours. He won't talk to me. What happened? I can't discuss personnel matters, Lauren. That's between Marcus and me. You offered him a job? I offered him a position, yes. Different from what he applied for. He has until tomorrow to decide. What position? Associate Strategic Partnerships Manager. Another pause. That's not a director role. No, it's not. Marcus applied for a senior leadership position he wasn't qualified for. But he has transferable skills, so I offered him a mid-level role where he could learn and grow. At what salary? I can't discuss that with you. If Marcus wants to share those details, that's his choice. Maya, Her voice was strained now. He makes over $600,000 a year at MedTech Solutions. If you lowballed him, I swear. I made him a fair offer based on his qualifications for the role. If he doesn't like it, he doesn't have to take it. This is revenge, isn't it? For what we said at Easter. Lauren, I interviewed 15 people this week. I offered Marcus a position because he has potential, despite having zero experience in cybersecurity. I could have just rejected his application. Would that have been better? She was quiet for a moment. I called Mom. He's freaking out. She wants you to come to dinner this weekend. I'm flying to San Francisco tomorrow. I'll be gone for a week. Maya, please. We need to talk about this. As a family. There's nothing to talk about. You made assumptions. You were wrong. That's it. That's not it. She sounded close to tears now. I feel like an idiot. I told you to stop playing entrepreneur. I said your business was embarrassing. Everyone agreed with me. They did. And you knew the whole time. You knew you were successful and you just let us think you were failing. I didn't let you think anything. You chose to think it. Without ever asking a single real question about my work. That's not fair. Isn't it? When's the last time you asked about my company, Lauren? Not to mock it, but to genuinely understand what I do. Silence. You've never asked, I continued. None of you have. For 7 years I've been building something incredible. I've created jobs for 520 people. I've protected hospitals, banks and schools from cyber attacks. I've built something that matters. And not once, did any of you care enough to ask real questions. We cared, she said weakly. You cared about appearances. About whether I had the right job title, the right car, the right apartment. You didn't care about what I was actually doing. Maya, I'm sorry. We're all sorry. Please come to dinner this weekend. Let us make this right. I have work, Lauren. That's what happens when you actually run a real company. I hung up. Friday afternoon at 4:47 p.m., Marcus Porter sent his response. Marcus, I'm accepting the offer. I start May 6th. Thank you for the opportunity. Me, welcome to Sentinel Systems. HR will reach out with onboarding details. Marcus, can I ask you something? Me, go ahead. Marcus, why give me a chance? After Easter you could have just rejected my application. I would have deserved it. Me, because you're good at what you do. And being wrong about someone doesn't mean you can't learn to be better. Everyone deserves a second chance, if they're willing to work for it. Marcus, I won't let you down. Me, I know. See you May 6th. 10 minutes later, Lauren called again. I let it go to voicemail. Lauren, Marcus told me he took the job. I don't know what to say. Thank you for giving him a chance even though we didn't deserve it. Mom wants to throw you a celebration dinner. Dad wants to talk to you about investments. Everyone's talking about you. The whole family is calling asking why we didn't know. I told them we never bothered to ask. Maya, I'm really sorry. Please call me back. I deleted the voicemail. 2 weeks later I was in San Francisco giving the keynote speech at Tech Week 2025. The conference hall held 3,000 people. Every seat was filled. 7 years ago, I told the audience, I was working out of a coffee shop with $47,000 and a dream. Today, Sentinel Systems protects over 400 enterprise clients and generates $180 million in annual revenue. People ask me, what's the secret? How did you scale so fast? I clicked to the next slide. The secret is simple. I stopped listening to people who underestimated me. I stopped waiting for permission to be successful. I stopped playing small to make other people comfortable. The audience applauded. There will always be people who doubt you. Family, friends, colleagues. People who look at you and see what you're not instead of what you could be. You can spend your energy trying to prove them wrong. Or you can spend your energy building something so undeniable that their opinions become irrelevant. More applause. I chose the latter. And so can you. After the keynote, I did a press interview with Forbes. The journalist asked me about my family. They're supportive, I said diplomatically. They always have been. It was a lie. But it was the kind of lie that kept family dinners from becoming complete disasters. Marcus Porter started at Sentinel Systems on May 6th. He was quiet, professional, and worked harder than anyone in his department. He never mentioned Easter. Neither did I. Lauren sent weekly text messages. I responded to about half of them. Mom left voicemails about catching up and celebrating my success. I ignored most of them. Dad emailed me about investment opportunities. I forwarded them to my financial advisor without responding. The truth was, I didn't need their validation anymore. I'd stopped needing it somewhere around year 3 when I realized that the people who truly mattered, my employees, my investors, my clients, already saw me for who I was. But there was one person who deserved to know the full story. 3 months after Easter, I flew to Portland to visit Rebecca Chin. No relation, though we joked about it constantly. Rebecca had been my college roommate, my first employee, and the person who'd loaned me $15,000 when I was starting Sentinel Systems. We met at her favorite coffee shop. She was still working as a software engineer at Intel, happy with her stable corporate job. "So," she said, stirring sugar into her latte, "I heard your sister found out." "She did. In the most awkward way possible." "Good." Rebecca grinned. "She deserved it. They all did. Her fiancé works for me now." Rebecca choked on her coffee. "What?" I told her the whole story. By the end she was laughing so hard she was crying. "Oh my God," she gasped. "That's the most perfect revenge I've ever heard." "It's not revenge. I gave him a fair shot. Maya, you made your future brother-in-law take a 70% pay cut to work as your junior employee. That's revenge. Justified, deserved revenge, but still. He didn't have to take it. But he did. Because he knows he screwed up. Because he wants to be part of what you built." She shook her head. "You're more generous than I would have been." We talked for 3 hours. About the company, about life, about everything that had happened in the 7 years since I'd started this crazy journey. "You know what I love?" Rebecca said as we were leaving. "You didn't change who you are. You're still the same Maya who wore hoodies to investor meetings and refused to play corporate games. You just got rich while doing it." "I'm not rich. The company is valuable." "Same thing." "Not really. Most of my net worth is tied up in equity." "How much equity?" "I own 73% of the company. At our last valuation, that's roughly $620 million. Rebecca stared at me. $620 million. On paper. I can't exactly spend it. Still counts. She hugged me tight. "I'm proud of you. And for what it's worth, I knew you'd make it. Even when you were eating ramen 3 meals a day and sleeping 4 hours a night. I always knew. That's why I gave you 2% equity when you loaned me that money." Her eyes widened. 2% of, wait. The company's worth $850 million. As of last month, yes. She did the math in her head. That's $17 million. $17 million on paper. If we ever have a liquidity event, you'll get the money. Until then, it's just numbers. Rebecca sat down on the nearest bench. "I loaned you $15,000 because you were my friend and I believed in you. I didn't expect." "I know. But you took a risk on me when no one else would. That's worth something." She wiped her eyes. "Okay, now I'm crying. In public. Thanks for that." "You're welcome." 6 months after Easter, I got an email from Lauren. Subject: Thanksgiving. "Dear Maya, I know we haven't talked much since everything happened. I want you to know that I've spent the past 6 months thinking about what I said at Easter and I'm ashamed. I was cruel. I was dismissive. I treated your work like it didn't matter because it didn't fit my narrow definition of success. You deserved better from me, from all of us. Marcus has told me about working at Sentinel Systems. He loves it. He says it's the best career move he's ever made, even though he took a pay cut. He says you're the best CEO he's ever worked for. That you're fair, demanding, and genuinely care about your employees. I should have known that about you already. I should have cared enough to ask. Mom and Dad want to host Thanksgiving this year. They want you to come. I want you to come. Not to show off your success or prove anything, but just to be together. As a family. I know I don't deserve your forgiveness. But I'm asking anyway. Love, Lauren." I read the email 3 times. Then I replied, "Lauren, I'll come to Thanksgiving. But I need you to understand something. I didn't build Sentinel Systems to prove anyone wrong. I built it because I love what I do. Because I wanted to create something meaningful. Your opinion, anyone's opinion, doesn't change that. I forgive you. Not because you asked, but because holding on to anger takes energy I'd rather spend building my company. See you at Thanksgiving. Maya." Thanksgiving was different. I arrived in jeans and a hoodie because some things never change. But this time no one commented. Lauren hugged me at the door. Mom cried. Dad shook my hand with something that looked like respect. Marcus was there too, looking more relaxed than I'd ever seen him at a family gathering. Over dinner they asked real questions. About the company, about cybersecurity, about what I actually did all day. I answered honestly. No showboating, no proving points. Just facts. I still can't believe we didn't know, Aunt Rachel said. 520 employees. $180 million in revenue. And you never said a word. You never asked, I said simply. But that's okay. Not everyone needs to understand what I do. We want to understand now, Mom said quietly. Then ask questions. Real ones. Not, when are you getting a real job? But, what problem is your company solving? Not, why don't you have an office? But, how does your business model work? Ask because you care, not because you're checking boxes. Dad nodded slowly. Fair enough. So what problem is Sentinel Systems solving? I smiled. And I told them. 2 years later, Sentinel Systems was acquired by Cisco for $2.3 billion. I retained 73% equity, which translated to roughly $1.68 billion after taxes. I kept the company operating independently. Kept all 520 employees. Kept the culture we'd built. Rebecca Chin retired at 38 with $46 million from her 2% equity stake. Marcus Porter became Director of Strategic Partnerships after 18 months of exceptional work. He and Lauren got married. I was in the wedding. My family still doesn't fully understand what I do. But they've stopped making assumptions. And that's enough. Last month, Forbes ran a feature. Maya Chin, the CEO who built an empire in silence. The opening line read, while other tech founders were chasing headlines, Maya Chin was building something real. They interviewed Lauren for the piece. She said, my biggest regret is that I dismissed her success before I understood it. She taught me that quiet confidence is more powerful than loud criticism. I framed that quote and put it in my office. Not because I needed the validation, but because it was true.